Good afternoon, Mabaru. I am Senator John Barrasu, representing the great state of New Jersey. And on behalf of the Senate Committee of Environment and Public Works, you will have 3 minutes to present your testimony. As a reminder, your oral and written testimony is being transcribed, recorded, and it will be archived for public use in the United States Government Printing Office in New Jersey.
Hello, my name is Mabari Cece and I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I would like to begin by thanking the Congressional panel for allowing me to testify before the Environment and Public Works Congressional Committee. I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, and this community has become a family to me. I am testifying before you today to speak on the issue of lead in our drinking water. Reports from the New York Times highlighted that high levels of lead in our water were found in half the city's schools in 2017, and more than 22% of drinking water samples that were tested in Newark were found to have levels of lead exceeding the federal standard. This is not a problem that Newark faces alone. Many communities across the country do not have clean drinking water, and many of these communities affected are disproportionately low income and communities of color, such as Flint, Michigan, and Baltimore, Maryland. This is an extreme disservice to all citizens all around the country. According to the CDC, lead exposure has been proven to adversely affect children's cognitive development. Young children, infants, and fetuses are particularly vulnerable. Even low levels of exposure can lead to damage of the nervous system, impaired hearing, and learning disabilities. Lead exposure is associated with more cold, suppression of the immune system, as well as decreased kidney function. This growing crisis has gripped Newark and has spread fear and anxiety across the city. Many communities rely on these lead water pipes. It is not a privilege, but a right to have safe, clean drinking water. U.S. Senator Cory Booker has introduced a legislation that can help communities get lead out of the drinking water. This legislation, which is the Water Infrastructure Funding Transfer, gives states the flexibility by allowing states to transfer federal grant funds from their Clean Water State Revolving Fund to their Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. Many states have already transferred the maximum allowable amount between these funds, but this bill will help states with additional funds that can be used immediately to address this crisis. This will help cities like Newark finance critical upgrades and repairs to our drinking water system. Initially, the city of Newark denied that there was a lead problem in the water. I believe that the involvement of the government in water systems is inappropriate. Private companies can provide alternate options to utility monopolies and facilities controlled by the government. This way, we know exactly who should be held accountable instead of playing a blame game and wasting time when human rights like clean drinking water are being violated. However, since civil liberties are being infringed as we speak, it is important that we deal with this issue immediately. Therefore, the Water Infrastructure Funding Transfer is the acceptable first step to help these marginalized communities. It is a quick and effective way to begin to repair the water pipes and give individuals their right to clean water back. In the future, I believe that we should work towards a private company control rather than government control when it comes to water systems. This way, we will have a better and more accountable system of service rather than it being controlled by the government. Let's remember, taxes and politicians are not prerequisites to building infrastructure. However, at this stage of this crisis we are in, immediate action needs to be taken. I would like to thank the Congressional panel for this opportunity to testify regarding the environmental justice issue.
Mabaru, we appreciate your testimony, and now we open the floor for the committee for any questions.
So I'm here today. I'm Kevin Kramer, and my first question is in regards to information from the CDC. One of the leading causes of our drinking water being polluted by lead poisoning is directly tied in with lead pipes, faucets, and plumbing fixtures. With this bill transferring funds, I guess my main question is, will these funds correctly be used to solve the problem of even fixing the causes themselves in these fixtures and lead pipe fixtures? So, and back to you, Chair.
Thank you. So the question I have is, according to MichiganRadio.org, Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean water. Based on this, how do we know that the S-1689 bill will effectively help prevent the problem? And again, thank you for your valuable time, Mabaru. Good afternoon, Madison. I am Senator John Barrasu, representing the great state of New Jersey. And on behalf of the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works, you will have 3 minutes to present your testimony. As a reminder, your oral and written testimony is being transcribed, recorded, and it will be archived for the public use in the United States Government Printing Office in New Jersey.
Good afternoon. I am Madison from Newark, New Jersey, and thank you for providing me with the opportunity to testify before the Environment and Public Works Congressional Committee today. It is my pleasure to present and represent my community as I have been a resident born and raised in Newark, New Jersey for my whole life. I am the CEO of the company New Jersey American Water, and I am testifying today in order to express my opposition and suggestions to the bill permitting the transfer of funds from the Clean Water Revolving Fund of a state to the Drinking Water Revolving Fund of the state. As I work for a prominent water company, I know that bringing safe, clean water to our citizens is necessary for all individuals in the United States. As our country's water systems have aged, lead has become a growing problem across the country. The state itself is working directly with its citizens in an attempt to understand the effects of the lead crisis in our drinking water. Myself and my company are working with our state government in order to effectively and efficiently help to end this lead issue and provide for those affected by it in the meantime by ensuring that we have access to treated bottled water. But with that being said, the transferring of funds of up to $100 million from the federal water funds is unnecessary as states currently are able to access 33% of the federal funds. More federal funding and higher spending of our state leads to higher taxes for our citizens of New Jersey. Adding higher taxes onto our citizens' lives only takes away from the hard work that they are doing to provide for themselves and their families. Therefore, instead of adding to our spending, we should be focusing on how to effectively delegate our funds and spending costs. Taking information from another area deeply affected by the lead crisis, Flint, Michigan, the EPA has previously intervened and attempted to bring cost-saving changes to the city's water supply, but later caused mass lead poisoning to Flint citizens. The EPA is a federal organization, and this mishap explains that we do not need the federal government in order to see a change in our water. A way to help only the local government be involved and avoid federal involvement could be enlisting local companies like my own to help assist in all tasks relating to the providing Newark with clean, lead-free drinking water. The City of Newark had previously delegated the management of its water assets to the Newark Watershed Conservation and Development Corporation, with contracts adding up to $10 million per year. In previous years, there has been an abuse of our provided funds by the Newark Watershed Conservation and Development Corporation, and although this agency has since been forced to stop operation, our government should be focusing on the distribution of our state funds in order to avoid future issues in funding distribution. Past efforts have been unsuccessful. Newark's current launch of the program to begin replacing our pipelines has been backed with help from the state. The state should be careful in how it uses its state funds over the course of the years, replacing the pipes in order to limit the necessity of using federal water funds. The federal government has given our state the power to control a water supply, and we will uphold the standard. I have faith in our state to aid in the protection of the citizens in Newark, New Jersey from the lead in our water. Again, thank you for your time and allowing me to testify in front of you today regarding the bill of the transfer of funds from the Clean Water Revolving Fund to the Drinking Water Revolving Fund.
Madison, we appreciate your testimony, and now we open the floor for the committee for any questions.
Alrighty, so my next question revolves around the testing of the water in the pipes themselves. Lead water is obviously a serious problem, and I agree with that, but what will these funds be doing in regarding to testing statewide to find out where the biggest problems of and sources of this lead poisoning are being found at? I would hate to see these funds be spread too thin and have nothing accomplished in these areas with high concentrations by the end of this. Thank you, Chair, and back to you.
Thank you. So the question I have is, are there any other options that we can use to help fund the drinking water revolving funds? And again, I thank you for your valuable time, Madison. Okay. Good afternoon, Saidi. I am Senator John Barasso, representing the great state of New Jersey. And on behalf of the Senate's Committee on Environment and Public Works, you will have 3 minutes to present your testimony. As a reminder, your oral and written testimony is being transcribed, recorded, and it will be archived for public use in the United States Government Printing Office in New Jersey.
Good afternoon. My name is Saidi Labkamar, and I'm from Flint, Michigan. First, I would like to thank the Congressional panel for allowing me to testify before their Environment Congressional Committee. I have lived in Flint, Michigan since I was 6 years old. My kids have known nothing but Flint, Michigan. I'm testifying here today to speak on the heightened exposure to lead in our drinking water in Flint. According to CNN, a water study was done found that 40% of Flint homes have elevated lead levels. That is in 4 out of every 10 homes. There has been more than a dozen lawsuits, including many additional class action suits that were filed against the city of Flint and Michigan due to the issue being covered up by local officials. The water crisis started in 2014 when the drinking water source was changed from the Detroit Water and Sewage Department water to the Flint River. When they did the switch, officials failed to apply corrosion inhibitors to the water, which caused lead from the aging pipes to leach into the water supply. The reason why elevated lead is so bad for us to drink, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, is because it can cause children to have hearing problems, slowed growth, knee and knee, lower IQ, and behavior and learning problems. Effect for adults are cardiovascular effects, blood pressure, and increased incidences of hypertension, decreased kidney function, and reproductive problems. This is socially unacceptable to have anyone at risk of any of those issues. It's the government's job to make sure that all have access to clean. I believe the government must take more responsibility and fix the problem that has been around since 2014. U.S. Senator Cory Booker has taken the first step that should have been done to fix this crisis with introducing a new piece of legislation that will allow states to be able to transfer federal grant funds from their Clean Water State Revolving Fund to their Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, which will help Flint and other cities in similar conditions have additional funds to fix their water. However, there has been hope from selfless acts from many private companies like Just Water that has provided Flint with ways of cleaning the water or giving clean water. But bottom line, I believe this is a job for the government since clean water should be an undeniable right. And this bill is a great first step to beginning to fix this issue nationwide. I would like to again thank the Congressional for allowing me the opportunity to testify regarding environmental justice.
Saidi, we appreciate your testimony, and now we open the floor for the committee for any questions.
Alrighty, so I'm going to move on to my last question here. With the transfer of these funds, will there be a sense of transparency in the feedback process to the public? And if so, what kind of things will be relayed in regards to helping to decrease the chances of exposure to the public and public health sector? And that's about it on my end. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. So the question I have is, how do we know we will have enough funds to transfer money to the drinking water revolving funds and still have enough for the clean water revolving funds? And again, thank you, Saidi, for your valuable time.